Richard Pryor was my hero, and I'm proud to say my friend. Richard and I were friends until his last day on this earth. And Howard, at the end of his life, there weren't a lot of people hanging around kissing Richard's ass.
You're right. Richard Pryor at the end was sick. He couldn't perform really. He had lost his ability to talk. I imagine everyone abandoned him at that point. So what would you do? Would you go and visit him and say, Richard, how you doing? And check in on him? That's a really loving thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I would go. I would jump over the fence because sometimes if the nurse was shopping or something, I'd jump over the fence and just go to the back window where it was his room, and I would hang out with him. It was really cool. We'd watch TV. One time he wanted to go see one of Eddie's movies, so he had this little cart. I put his cart in my Range Rover and took him to the Sherry Lansing Theater at Paramount, and we watched one of Eddie's movies.
Wow. And, did you tell Eddie that right away? Did you say Richard wanted to go see your movie?
I asked Richard where he wanted to go, man. He didn't want to go to the mall. He didn't want to go to the beach. Richard wanted to go see your movie, man. And I told him, and that made him really happy. But you know what else with Richard? I would say, Richard, are there other things you want to do? And he'd say, there are people I miss. And I said, like who? He said, like, I would love to see Quincy Jones. And so I would say, let me work on that. And I would literally find Quincy, put him in a car, and 2 days later, bring him to the house and sit him in a bedroom, and him and Richard would hang out. You know who else he wanted to meet? One time we were watching TV, and it was the Steve Harvey sitcom with Cedric the Entertainer, and Steve played Mr. Hightower, a teacher. And Richard's looking at him, and Richard said, I think he kind of looks like me. And I said, you know, you're right, Richie. The fro, because Steve had his fro back then. I said, yeah. And he says, I met him once. I liked him. And I said, would you like me to bring him over? He says, yeah, I would love to sit and talk with him. And Steve and I went to college, so it was easy to find him. We went to Kent State together, found Steve, put him in a car, brought him to Richard's, left him in the room, let him and Richard talk for 2 hours.
You know, Steve Harvey, I think he's a really smooth comic, great television presence. I don't know that he gets his due. And the fact that he came and visited Richard, he must have been beside himself. I mean, anyone who gets to sit with Richard Pryor, it's amazing, but it's awkward too, because when he's sick, you can't talk, like you have to keep the conversation going. Richard can't talk that much, right? So it's weird to hang. Yeah.
You kind of have to talk to Richard and tell him stories. And, you know, he would laugh and he would still respond, you know, but he was a great dude. And he was funny, Howard, to the last day he was on this earth. I took him to the Comedy Awards one time. It was a Comedy Awards show. And, you know, I helped him walk out, and they gave him this Lifetime Achievement Award. And somebody in the balcony said, "We love you, Richard." And Richard said, "Well, suck my dick then." This is when Richard was sick. He was still Richard.